Welcome to Beyond Normal Days episode 14. I'm your host, Guillermo. The guest for this episode is a long-awaited guest who was supposed to be featured in episode 10 of the podcast, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to reschedule. Good things come to those who wait, and that's exactly what happened. I got the chance to talk to the one and only Dean Paul. Dean Paul is a DJ and photographer from Hacienda Heights, California, and is involved with the techno scene in Los Angeles and beyond. He is known for being a part of the Joy Behavior crew and helping curate the history that has been made by the label. Dean has been DJing since the early 90s and has experienced a lot of the evolution of the West Coast electronic music scene. Throughout the interview, Dean talks about his musical upbringing, attending his first rave in San Bernardino, California, the time he played an interface party during the Amsterdam dance event, and the new ventures with Observe and 4Track. Dean also talked about his photography featured in the 2019 DTLA book and explains the meaning behind his entity, Bit23. The mix for this episode was curated by Dean Paul himself, so make sure to play it loud. Follow Dean on Instagram and Twitter at Dean Paul to stay updated for his next party he'll be playing at. You can find him at DEANPAU1. You can also find him on Resident Advisor by his name Dean Paul, on SoundCloud and Mixcloud at Dean Paul, DEANPAUL. Also on Facebook at DeanPaul23. Make sure to visit his website bit23.com and check out some of his photography and past events. Follow Beyond Normal on Twitter at BeyondNormal_, and on Facebook and Instagram at BeyondNormalOfficial. Thank you all for tuning in, and now please welcome Dean Paul. What's up, everybody? This is Beyond Normal Days. Today, we get the long-awaited Dean Paul interview. What's up, Dean?
What's up? How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
First things first, I like starting off the interview or just, getting to know you. And also by telling the listeners where you're from.
So, originally from West Covina, Southern California. Los Angeles is the county outside.
Yeah, okay.
If that makes any sense.
No, yeah, that's sick.
And then we moved to Hacienda Heights, and that's pretty much where I grew up for a majority of my life.
Yeah.
Which we're currently in a park of right now next to Orange Grove Middle School. So anyone listening who knows that, you're probably laughing right now. But it's a beautiful park that no one really knows about, which is great.
No, this is actually a dope park. I didn't even know where we're at, but Hacienda Heights. And the crazy thing, or cool thing about doing these episodes, that on the way here, I was like, the cool thing is like that I meet up with everybody, so I kind of get to go to these places like for the first time, or acknowledging that I'm not sure if I've ever been to Hacienda Heights, but for sure now I have. So
welcome.
yeah, this is awesome, super amazing day. It's
a
Sunday,
beautiful
so
out.
yeah. I was just looking at so it looks like it's a school, the park, and then you have what looks like the wilderness to the
Yeah, that's Timberwolf Canyon. Those are the hills right there. And if you look to the north, we got Mount Baldy, I believe.
Mount Baldy, I think it was. Yeah,
on a clear day.
Yeah, okay.
So we're located in a valley, but we're 30 minutes, give or take, from the beach or an hour, should we say, from the ocean and the mountains.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes to the city.
So you're like you're like middle ground.
Yeah, it's pretty much middle of our eastern territory of the county of LA.
Cool. But so let's dive deep and get to see what made, or like all I want to see the journey of the like the whole thing that you guys done. I want to see you guys. It's like all your friends, your DJ friends from Joy Behavior, and more. But so what was your musical upbringing here in Hacienda Heights? Like, what were you into? Well, actually, before, what were your musical upbringing? Like, what were you into, like, as a kid, growing up?
Into, like, a lot of funk music, jazz. So my mom's mom and dad were super into, like, polka music and stuff like that, ranchero music. Yeah. That's, like, my Mexican side. And my dad's side, his dad was a huge jazz fan, so that's where I learned a lot of like Frank Sinatra, Miles Davis, Sammy Davis Jr., and all that kind of stuff. So super cool. And I guess ever since I was little, I used to have a real little small record player. It was a Smurf record player from the 80s, and my mom bought it for me, and I would just play her records or my grandfather's records, and I don't think I know what I was doing at the time. There's actually a picture I have. It's hilarious. It's me in my onesie playing a record or something, and I must have been at I don't know, 3, 4. And I just took that thing everywhere with me, no matter where, and I'd pull the record back and forth or just slow down the music to make it sound weird. So that was like my first experimental with music. Oh, shit. I didn't even like realize that till like right now, but yeah, I would just sit there playing with the record and make it sound weird. Even going backwards, that was more interesting to me than playing forwards or 45. So
that's tight. That's cool because I remember somebody saying something about like, turntables as an instrument. Like we get to feel the music. So that's sick. As a young age, you already like, trying to dabble into that. Like, so damn, that's sick. Yeah. It was meant to be. Yeah,
vinyl has been a big part of my life.
And, well, of course, because that's what you were DJing. I was going to ask, I said, of course, to myself in my head because I'm like, that's what you were DJing, vinyl. Like
started with?
When you started DJing.
Originally, yes. Yeah. Yes, that was my medium form.
Okay. And who introduced you to, or how were you introduced to electronic music?
That's a tough one. I would have to say my cousins who were older than me were, like, into Depeche Mode, Devo, a lot of 80s new wave groups, and for me like The Cure and all that, like the silent parts of the song that were more electronic without lyrics was like really interesting to me.
Yeah.
When I was little, I wasn't really into lyrics. I was like, I don't really care what you have to say. I mean, it's words, but for me, the melodies and hearing the song without the lyrics was more minimal and more rhythmic and repetitive.
Yeah.
So I think that's what fit with dance music with me. And yeah, pretty much that's it.
That's sick. That's
Thank you.
sick. When did you get into specific? Were you into hard house?
Well, that's funny. So, like, it all started, like, DJing wise. I was probably, like, 12 or 11. And, you know, middle school, birthday parties, we'd get DJs, and I was always looking at their turntables, wondering what they were doing. And at the time, yes, house, deep house, hard house, all that was going on. But I was always, like, really interested on how he had the interaction with the crowd based on track songs.
Yeah.
And I loved the reaction that people had to songs. And I was like, hey, this is cool. You get to play music you like and people dance. Which came from when my first rave I went to called Invasion in San Bernardino.
Oh, shit. Yeah, represent San Bernardino.
Oh, at the Masterdome. So it's a very classic spot.
Yeah, I recently learned about that, to be honest.
Oh, yeah,
Jack,
yeah. Dude, that was
Audio J told me about Masterdome.
That was a beacon for the scene.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That was when I saw them play at a bigger scale, and no one really danced with one another, which was kind of like refreshing to me. So you don't have to like be pressured to like, hey, do you want to dance? Everyone just danced on their own, did their thing, jumped up and down, but there was just like a cool vibe, and everyone was super excited, and people were more interested in the music than who's like actually playing on stage.
Yeah.
And that was like refreshing to me, and people were just hungry for new, fresh, different music, which was, I think, a big movement back in the 90s. Of most of the kids, we were different than most of the so-called air quotes normal kids.
Yeah, well, because that's what when you look back, like history and everything, like the rave scene, like what it was about, or what it was, like what it came to be, what it stood for, and it still stands for, but now it's a lot of crossover crowds and everything. But I understand, that's what I hear, because also too, I'm not an OG or in the scene or whatever, but that was one thing for sure that I can maybe relate to as well too, like, just going there, kind of, you don't have to like really like. It's just it could be individual experience, or it can be a communal experience. So you choose, and I like that individual like aspect of jumping up and down, just kind of expressing yourself. Sometimes I tell people I like going to, when it's a warehouse party or whatever it is, I like kind of going solo a little bit, and then just going to the back and just kind of taking everything in, just for a little bit, and just kind of like take a deep breath, and just okay. This is awesome, just kind of look at everything, but just,
Yeah, well, then you're looking at it as, like, artistic, and you're trying to feel the vibe of the room, I feel like, too. Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, what's it about? Because sometimes you get in the middle, like, why am I here? Who are these people? But then you get used to it.
Yeah, no, I get all kind of queasy because I sweat a lot.
Oh,
so
you're one of those guys.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I have a story as well too, David.
Just keep your shirt on.
No, that's facts. Yeah, I'm good. Somebody,
how many parties I've been into, even like at Berghain or whatever.
Oh, yeah, they're all right next to you.
I mean, dude, if you want to take your shirt off, go for it. I'm not hating, but there's nothing worse. I forgot there's a movie with Ben Stiller where he hit some dudes.
Yes. It is. It's not Dodgeball.
It was where it's like hairy. It's like
and
hairy
no, he's playing basketball.
Yeah,
with somebody, but yeah. Or it's
it's that face he makes is how I feel, because sometimes someone's face will hit me. I mean, there's nothing worse than feeling a man's body on your face.
Like
all
you can
sweaty.
feel the heat too, like
especially when it's someone you don't know and you're just like awkwardly like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm just in the mix right now. So.
Oh, dude, I feel that. No, I have a. Not a story, but I remember, I think I told to somebody, but it was when Speedy J came for the second time to LA, and I remember, I'm sweating, like just hot, just pouring sweat, and I step out to the, like, outside, like the crowd or whatever, and just kind of walking to the back, putting my hands up, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, my God, it is hot. And who's sitting down right in front of me? Truncate. And I'm just like, damn, this is embarrassing, man. I'm like, he's probably looking at me like, because I felt like he was like looking at me. He's like, damn, bro, like you are sweating. So
you used to ride that party. That was the 4th of July one, right?
It was the 4th of July, but the second, I think it was the second time, because I didn't go to the first one, because he came twice, and it was also another 4th of July.
Just as crowded and just as hot.
Yeah,
venue,
yeah,
think,
it
right?
was. To be honest, I couldn't say since I didn't go to the first
parties.
one.
Oh, it was a really big warehouse.
I know the first one got super packed, and there was like that big old picture of everybody. Even Vidal went.
Yeah,
So
that was a big party.
Yeah. So
Which was amazing.
you know,
to see.
do you know Speedy J?
Yeah, Yoakum. He's cool. He's a cool guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an amazing dude. And it's funny because for me, I feel his techno is a very, not serious, but it's just got this, it's amazing how he takes little snippets of tracks and makes it one giant journey, and it's this techno that you've never heard before and you don't even understand, but it makes all sense in the end. But it's nice to see that kids are getting, or people today, should I say, are getting more into that more deeper side of techno than the normal expectancy of like different or more popular type of techno.
Yeah.
I feel that that's very important for people to go out and explore and find new artists and new venues, because that was a big thing in the 90s, was who like important to us slash I found it interesting to go to different venues. Every party was at a different venue, but we used to travel really far for parties. Anywhere from the desert, San Bernardino, to downtown LA. I mean, everywhere. Mountain parties. There was no like bubble where it seems like it's harder to get people to party outside of downtown LA. And like when they don't hear it's in downtown LA, it's like, I don't know, do I want to go to this or not? And I'm like, what?
Oh.
So I mean, I like driving to further distances to see more different type of venues, or be in the desert, the mountains, the beach, wherever, because we've done parties at the in Santa Barbara.
At the beach?
Yeah. Those are cool. We called those blue and silver. So this one weekend we had, or was it the same weekend? Or it might have been the next following weekend. We did a party called Black and Silver, which was a 2-day desert event, which was pretty hardcore, should we say. It was super hot. The original venue we had got taken from a movie company. They were shooting a film there.
Yeah.
So they had to relocate. These dudes literally took a laptop back in the day. Someone had the internet on their laptop and just found a spot on Google Maps and said, hey, we're going to go there. And finding that party was very interesting back then. There was no like, drop me a geotag or something.
It was
that.
like you would have to really.
Yeah, we had to dial it in on the odometer and be like, in 2 miles at this bush, turn left here. Because there was another desert party we did with another group of people. We put cones out, and that's how we got busted. So you can't do anything because cops patrol from the air.
So they're seeing the whole
you're
outline,
like,
everything.
Cool. So that's the party right there where all those cones are off the freeway to. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. I mean, there was a party I was helping with called Desert Infantry. I think that was the party. Dude, we put like 40 or 50 cabinets on the flyer. That's what we were going to do. Like, we literally had a wall. And this was like in 2000. And no one wanted to go back out and mark it with like glow sticks or like little ribbons, because we used to do that too.
Yeah.
So we dropped cones on the way out there. And we set up, and the wall was amazing. It was in a dry lake bed too, surrounded by mountains. There's only one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
So the venue was amazing, and we put In the Mojave Desert too on the flyer. And I had a dream when we passed out for a little bit while after setting up that the cops came. And literally I woke up, the cops came in, there was a huge caravan of cops. And they rounded us all up, searched everything. They're like, where's the drugs?
So they came specifically like...
Yeah, the Federal Land Bureau of I guess investigation. Well, it wasn't the FBI, but it was of the land out there. Like, because I didn't even know it was government land. So they were out there too. They saw the flyer. There was airplanes. There was helicopters. The news, local news, was out there because they thought they had like a story. And
yeah, that's exactly what. That's what somebody said, like ABC or whatever. They always have their rave danger story type stuff. Like your kids are going to these.
Oh, the Fox Underground.
Oh yeah,
classic.
Fox stuff like that. There we go. Yes,
that was
ABC,
like iconic.
Fox, yeah.
But we even had the whole, like, the signs off the freeway that said rave canceled. Like, my friend who was coming, he's like, dude, you got your own sign. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, here, I'll take a picture for you. And this was on his film camera back in the day. And I was, like, laughing on how serious they thought it was. They thought we were throwing pretty much like a mini massive.
Oh shit!
And it was we probably were hoping for maybe 100 people. I mean, we just
how many
wanted
people
to
were
throw
there?
a wall of sound.
We did it even.
No, the
haven't
party
even
didn't have it.
started?
No,
Oh, shit.
and we rented a big like diesel truck. And I told everyone, I was like, "You're gonna go in this small town with this massive moving truck. We're like, how else are we gonna bring the speakers in?" I was like, 2 smaller trucks. Like you go an hour earlier, and then I'll follow you an hour later. Like, we made it too obvious. Now when I think about it, it would have been an amazing party, but no.
You said we trying to make our own wall of sound.
It was literally. Oh, that was big in the '90s. Walls of speakers.
That's what. But is that like a? Would it be correct to say that it's a Midwest thing as well too? That whole like crazy ass.
They're known for that too. I mean, Detroit, Minneapolis, they're all big fans of that. It's because of our upbringing. I think the whole wall of sound was iconic. And it was just about the sound more than like now the setup is who's playing, put them up on a stage kind of thing and light them.
I remember you said in your NTS radio, you said like, you know, you grew up you were like in the generation of like putting your head into the speaker, you know. I'm just like, God damn. And I've seen people do that.
People
shit.
do that.
I've seen people
fall
do that.
asleep. They do all kinds of like wild stuff.
Wait, fall asleep in the speaker? Like in the speaker?
Yeah, we have a friend who falls asleep on top of speakers. I won't give him a shout out, but he'll know who he is.
What?
Yeah, I mean, there's people who can sleep anywhere, and people do stuff. But
I'm just saying, well,
I guess, you know, depending on what you're on or how you hear sound, should I say, like putting your head in a speaker, it sounds different. So everyone has their own unique experiences.
Like a little massage.
Oh yeah, totally. And those speakers were not as friendly as like Function One, like where it's loud and you can hear it, but it doesn't hurt your ears. These speakers would hurt your ears. Like if you're there for 7 hours or so, your ears probably feel like fatigue / bleeding. But that's
in like really in your like time of like experiencing that scene. Was it also, were people advocating to like wear earplugs and everything?
No,
or is that recently new as well?
That's a whole new thing. Especially like I think David, a lot of my friends who produce music all have those fancy ones where they get their mold.
Yeah.
And those are good. I mean, they need to save their ears.
Yeah.
I mean, they're producing music, so.
Do they put them on when they produce music?
David, I think, plays with them now.
Oh, that's what I've seen people talk about that.
Yeah.
Sunil Sharp, he's talked about that before.
Yeah, they usually wear them when they're out too. But what's really cool is, I guess this helps too for playing longer sets at Berghain. They, depending on the frequency range they need to cut to save their ears, will help the ear fatigue too, so you can listen to louder music for longer periods of time because of the harmful frequency being cut out.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense because that's like I remember like when I would have like mix sessions with the homie Elijah, Third Project. You know, after like maybe like 2 hours, whatever, you know, a little bit later you can start kind of feeling the little like, okay, you know, and take a little break, you know, whatever, and then kind of like, okay, I'm going back at it, you know.
Yeah.
And we call it training, you know. So we're like, you know, so we can train our ears to be able to like, you know, just do those like what they call extended sets, but you know, 5 hours and stuff like that, you know. Or when you see people like, yeah, man, just did an 8-hour set. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think most drum cells play, I think 12 hours.
You see stuff like that. You see.
I mean, I tell them they got a toilet in the back, so you're set.
Oh,
but everyone's
so
like, what about food? I'm like, I don't know about that one.
You got a toilet in the back.
At least there's a restroom.
I think that's the main thing is some water. You're set. Water and a restroom.
Yeah,
well, just to kind of like here and there.
Yeah, like if I ever did that, I'd like bring pretzels or something.
I know, like right there, some stuff like in some
some Pringles. I don't know, something to munch on.
Have you seen that video of Joseph Capriati eating spaghetti?
No.
Yeah, he's just like straight eating spaghetti, and you know the whole like.
Well, it's funny because drum set played at one compound party, and there was a sushi chef there. I was hungry, and I'd eat all day pretty much. I'm getting sushi, and I was just eating sushi behind him. And everyone's like, "What are you doing? This is a party." I'm like, "Yeah, and I'm hungry. What? You're just gonna eat sushi back there? Yeah, it's good sushi."
Hey, but they're selling it at the party. So
and for me, that's kind of cool to have a really nice sushi chef at an underground party.
That's pretty cool.
That's quality, and to have the experience eating it and listening to techno. Why not?
Why not? Exactly. Yeah. That's true. Facts. But backtracking, you know, so because I have a little question.
yeah, we kind of fell off.
No, but this is like I tell people, I'm like, dude, these are just conversations, and they just kind of go. They start off somewhere. We kind of, you know, tangentially, you know, go somewhere else, whatever, and then kind of go back a little bit to the little chronological. But no, hell no. If we go off, that's what it's all about. But you said you started DJing around like 12ish, so I'm guessing that's early 80s.
No. I would like.
No, you were born in the early 80s
and
started
81.
DJing when you were around like 12, 14.
14.
And then,
yeah. 14,
and then
15.
yeah. So never mind. You got introduced to the art of DJing because all those family parties and everything. When did you specifically? Oh, because you said you grew no before even techno. You got into the hardcore. You're into the hardcore scene.
Yeah, so I guess when you're younger, you tend to like speed. So everything else was like super boring to me. Like even deep house at the time, that was for like the older crowds. Like, cool, I can dance with someone. It's groovy. I guess when I was younger, I just had energy, and I just Plus everyone in the rave scene was just putting their fists.
Did you have long hair?
No, I didn't have that till I lived in San Francisco. But
Okay.
wait, what was the question?
No, hardcore.
Oh
Hardcore
yeah,
scene.
so that was started off in hardcore, and then even played like acid techno, acid house, and like Goa, which is now psychedelic trance.
Like that, yeah.
That had speed to it as well. Those are pretty much my main influences. But it's funny now, I listen to tapes that I made back in the days,
Yeah.
and everything was on +8. That's really fast. It was probably like 160, 175. But my people that I was listening to then, like Tron, Delta 9,
Yeah.
Ron Decor, they were speed demons. 160 was like common,
Like a
Gabber
normal
and
thing,
hardcore,
yeah.
industrial stuff like that. Yeah.
Because even like I remember when I first started, like when I first got introduced to 130, except for years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, that's just fucking fast. What the fuck? And then
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, oh damn, that's like the base, that's the threshold in a sense, And then 135, then 138,
Yeah,
and then
it's
like some
getting-
people really get pushed 140.
It's getting intense again.
Yeah, because when I talked to Billy, he said he's like, since when he got in, it's just gotten faster and faster. Would you say that?
Yeah, which I'm not. I guess I'm older now.
Yeah.
Where I want to slow down and chill more. It's funny because I just can't. I guess it's ear fatigue, or maybe it's just me being old. I just don't want to do it no more. I did it. It's
Yeah.
cool. Nothing that's wrong with it. Like Dax J, cool. Like hit it. And even when I'm playing, sometimes I'll pick it up.
Pick it up,
But
yeah.
for hours of that, that's really hard for me to do.
I think I'm at the point where I'm really liking it faster and faster.
Hilarious.
So,
A lot of people
yeah,
do. Like I just tell everyone there's a time and place for everything. So if the
But that's true.
crowd likes
Exactly,
it
yeah.
and it's that hour, then
Yeah.
bang it out.
And exactly too, I've told people, I'm like, yeah, if I have to, open up, I'm not gonna go freaking hard as hell or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I kind of had opening set at soft leather, and I didn't go
Oh,
hard.
cool.
So it was like, I had some electro.
That's good.
So
I think that's important.
yeah, Johnny Love was like, you fucking killed him, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's-
oh yeah.
That's great because sometimes some DJs or musicians, when they play early, play a little too hard for the time.
Yeah.
And I feel that's kind of kills the vibe early or tires the crowd out.
Yeah.
When the headliner hasn't even gotten on yet, and just creates a weird vibe.
Yeah, I sound like a broken record when I say it, but I love the art of an opening set.
Warming up, it's tough. Like I was a pretty big warm upper for interface.
Oh.
Warm upper, I guess you could say that. Warming sets up or starting the night off. The art of holding back and getting a groove, sprinkling on a couple stuff here and there for people to get into, but not go full throttle, and allowing the place to set up with a good positive energy is great.
When you got into the what were you doing before Jordy Behavior started? Like what were you guys? I know you guys were doing individual stuff, but you guys were hanging out before Jordy Behavior was
I've
a
known
thing.
Mo since the 90s. I'd randomly run into him at hardcore techno parties.
Mm-hmm.
We had friends that were in similar circles. Before that, I was in San Francisco. I went to art school.
For college.
Kennedy Art University in San Francisco from 2000 to 2005. And I met Mo ages ago. He started coming up to San Francisco every blue moon and was telling me about Interface and what they're doing. And I was like, cool, I'm up here. Is there anything we can do? Prior to that, I was just making mix CDs and trying to get gigs wherever I could and meet people.
And before college, high school, you were raving.
Oh, yeah.
That was like for sure.
I was raving at 15.
Did you ever, because Jeremy Senna said that he went to, I think it was a New Year's rave, but he called it the riot rave.
Oh.
It was like a riot, and then the cops, some people got hurt, because he said that there was a kid with the bloody face.
Seventh Heaven, I think it was called.
He couldn't remember the name, but he just said that drum set went.
Yeah. Mo
so
was
most
there.
likely,
I think it was called Seventh Heaven, circa. I mean, I'm sure I'll get corrected on it or whatever. I think it was along those lines. Yeah, I was supposed to go to that.
Oh, okay.
But my cousin who introduced me to the whole rave scene, she was running behind and she was getting ready because girls back then got all done up like with their Adidas jumpsuits, their beads, their hair, and so she was still working on her outfit. And I was watching the news with my aunt, who was okay at the time with us going to raves, and we started seeing the riot happening
through the news.
Yeah, and we were about to leave, and we were like, well, I guess we're not gonna go there.
Oh shit!
It was rowdy, and that's the time I'd felt that really put us on the map with everything even more, and our behavior at that party didn't really help out with the community support. It looked like the point the finger / that's
they're about
the bad parties.
Crazy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the crazy
all
kids.
Yeah, like with all the stereotypes that you hear about, like, you know, when I was in high school, you know, you have those health classes and they show you that drug educational video, whatever, you know, but and then they have that rave section, you know, whatever, and it's like they're introducing ecstasy, you know, whatever, but they have always rave. That's my introduction, you know, ecstasy, raves equal each other, you know, from I remember, and then from there you kind of experience it and you're like, oh, you're a bunch of liars.
I mean, it's like a stigma, and I have to say we even followed the same path as like Woodstock, the whole like open thinking forward movement.
Yeah, exactly. And then like with the whole underground resistance, what was happening in Detroit, you know, it was also like, it wasn't just a party, like, you know, message.
No, it was a movement.
Yeah.
And it was a place for everyone to feel who they wanted to be, and that was important for kids back then. And an outlet to party. Yeah, a lot of the clubs were 21 and up, or there was 18 and up too. But the crowds that went to those were more for like hooking up and checking out chicks, which is all fun and stuff. But raves and undergrounds were more about the music and learning about new styles of underground music.
That's sick. And when you went to San Francisco, were you DJing over there too?
Yeah, played at a couple of parties up there. They did. What's interesting about San Francisco, I think I just missed their whole underground scene. So they had a really big underground scene in like Oakland and some warehouses in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I would say they're the more old schooler than like LA's scene in the sense of undergrounds. From what I know, who knows? LA might have been the like first to throw those kind of parties, but they kind of got burned with cops, and no one really wanted to push the underground scene as much in San Francisco. Gigs were harder to get, or venues. Cops were more present, so it moved into more bars and clubs, which was interesting. And I was kind of upset at the time because my very first gig, I played at a warehouse party in Oakland.
Oh shit! Yeah, damn, that
was cool.
Tight.
And it was raining. It was a really interesting night. Yeah, I sent a tape through Ravelinks, if anyone remembers that.
Tony
said that?
Yeah, he said
that's how we used to find out about parties, and you can connect with your community, and that's how I found gigs. I'd find parties, email them, like, hey, you got a cool party going on here. Yeah. I just made a mixtape. If you're willing to hear it, I'll ship it to you. Yeah. And boom.
Dude, you see, like, the back in the day, like, you know, I guess rave community sounds like very, like, you know, very underground, you know, exclusive, but to the not exclusive crowd in like in the normal scene, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's exclusive to specific, you know, people. Yeah. You know, in a sense, but that's pretty cool. That sounds very like, you know, here, I guess, in a sense, like, I guess anybody complaining of gigs, whatever, seems kind of like, damn, dude, like, you haven't even experienced.
Yeah.
Like, having to actually, like...
There was more harder ways to get your sound out. I mean, the internet was kind of big, but there was no, like,
But it was the beginning of the internet, right? Or not beginning, but, like, meaning, like, you guys... It wasn't social media and all that stuff.
No. It was just posting of parties and stuff like that. That was pretty much what was on there. There was this website called DJ Central. I can't believe I remember that right now.
Oh, shit.
Which was a like, SoundCloud or a pre-RA site where it had a profile of your artists, and I think you could post mixes. I don't know.
DJ Central.
It's old school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there was no real big platform, so mixtapes, envelopes, and stamps, ship it. I mean, I used to, like, put out tapes or send out tapes to promoters 10 to 20 times a week.
Yeah, because that would be the ideal. Well, because right now, if you think about it, like, shoot me a private link to a mix or something like that, you know. But that's their private link in a sense. Yeah,
was,
Oh,
record
shit.
off a 4-track recorder.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. The different times.
Would you still know how to do that if somebody would say like, "Hey, let's record
Yeah. I'm totally down for that. I've actually done that recently, and it's pretty hard because I'm very particular on mixes and developing the mix through
how it
sounds and movement. And if something doesn't sound right, I'll just hit this pause button. Everyone's like, "Keep mixing." And nah, I'm good. I'll just restart it again. I'll torture myself.
Even if you're like 40 minutes in.
Yeah. I mean, there was one mix I did. I went all the way into 60 minutes, the hour. The last mix sounded terrible, so I started over.
I see. Okay. Respect that, though. But damn, dude. Okay, I feel you, though.
That was hard.
I feel you. And then, because you were talking about, like, parties and how, that's how you found parties through those rave links and, blogs. That was the Map Points era as well, too? Like Map Point parties?
I would say Map Points was before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Map Points was...
Oh, yeah, because that's... you're already including
like
the internet, and this one was before.
Like 99.
Do you know...
99, 98.
I think her name is Guadalupe Rosales.
Yeah.
You know her?
Yes, I met her. She's a great lady.
Because you guys are on the same show, right? The NCS show, yeah.
And at the time...
That's why I thought, like, maybe just you guys already knew each other, and that's why you guys...
No,
that's why.
I only knew Spinnerita.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Embarrassing, I forgot her first name. Hopefully she doesn't get mad at this.
I'm trying to have her on.
I met her through mutual friends, and when we all sat down together, it was really interesting to see how all of us were connected in some strange, weird way.
Yes, that's what
through the 90s scene.
Yeah.
Because back in the days, I was a raver, but hung out with what they call groovers, which groovers were kids who break dance, popped, but didn't really go to raves. Some did, some didn't.
There's a lot of backyard parties.
But they went to the backyard parties, and they introduced me to that whole background scene, which was an amazing time in LA because that will never happen. Those parties were wild. Damn. Wild. Kids would ditch school.
That's what Tony said. Like, I come back from bitch parties, like, yup. And then, like,
it was really cool to see all the different crews throughout all the different counties and cities in the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
And there was also party crews happening on the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
And they would battle each other, have these flyers and drink, and it was a pioneering time.
Was that also like Rebels?
Yeah, the Rebels were there too.
So there's this a guy that told me, he's like, yeah, there used to be Rebel parties, but not sure if this is true, but he said that because I put it right here, that
Rebel bout.
Would they fight each other?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. I don't even know how I remember half this.
That they were like, but it was like a friendly but not friendly in a sense, but it was just kind of like, it's consensual.
They would go to parks like something we're in right now, and they'd bring gloves and box it out, which was
representative.
But there would always be some sour apple in the bunch and bring a gun and start shooting at everyone.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't work too much because you couldn't fight much at schools because there was security developing more, not as much as there is today, but there would always be someone breaking it up.
So they
just go to a local park afterwards, which is cool. Fight with your hands. I'm all for that. Yeah. So they had to bring guns.
Yeah, damn. So, okay then. Damn.
I only went to one, and then I just was like, I'm good with this. I want to live. I mean, it's. I'm serious. We laugh about it, but I mean,
I know. He said, I want to live.
Well, because this neighborhood too, we also had like some huge gangs. Puente, Barrio 13, Huachín was big too.
Oh, sure. And they were also in the scene of like partying?
They would have members.
Right?
Yeah,
So that's why, crossovers.
Yeah, there was a big melting pot.
Yeah, that's why when sometimes people say that at raves, it's kind of like, it's cool. You see, somebody said, you get to see the cholo, you get to see the nerdy guy, you get to see, the artsy guy, whatever, just anything. You see all the,
no
the
judgment.
punk. Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. But like literally, it's like everything as well too.
And that was kind of the thing at backyard parties where it didn't feel as they in their eyes saw it as an open community, but it was very cliquey. It was very like, who do you know? Where are you from? It was kind of like gang style, but they were just party crews. But it emphasized on cliques and stuff like that.
That's great. Cause I asked myself, I'm like, I wonder if they were going to raves, but you answered it like they wouldn't go too much to raves, but they had all the backyard parties.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's Rebels and Groovers would be also like just backyard parties.
Yeah, they're all like part of the whole circle, which is cool because then everyone's own party crew or clique had their own characteristics, and they all brought their own characteristics to the scene, whether they're throwing different types of parties, where they have them.
Or the dance battles.
Yeah, you would know, like, Latin house, or I think what was it called, like, Latin something.
Because there's like what, Latin house and hard house go together.
No. I'm talking about the party crews. They had like a type of party. You would know if you go to these parties, this is how it would be.
Were you in a party crew?
No, I was not.
I asked Tony as well too. Were you in a party crew? Like,
I had friends in this crew called Buck Wild, but it was never. That wasn't me. No. It's cool to have friends that were in it. Yeah. Do your thing. I'll just continue to go to underground parties.
And when you, so that was at the backyard parties. Like, I have some questions like that. But when you went to San Francisco and you returned, why didn't you stay in San Francisco? More than anything?
I got really sad about my family and friends and just missed LA. I don't know if you know this, but San Francisco is 7 by 7 miles square, which is interesting. The city of San Francisco. And after 5 years, I felt like
you knew everything. Or
not everything, but like it's just, I saw everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't have my car up there. And traveling was limited. I mean, yeah, you had the BART and stuff, but there's certain times that cuts off. And I was ready to come home, make a change. And Droid was picking up at the time. And Mo was like, come on down and like join the family. And I was like, cool. So there was an outlet for me to play music. Yeah. And that's how I fell into photography as well. Because he wanted me to take pictures of the parties. And that's how that all started.
But when did you get into photography? So that was like maybe at the same time as DJing or a little bit after DJing?
Yeah. It all started for me when I was little. My dad had a Minolta film camera. And there was no film in it. But I just decided to pretend like I'm taking pictures. I think we went on a trip to Utah, and that's when I started falling in love with photography. And then I learned it more in art school as part of my background of visual effects, film cameras for film and shooting portraits and stuff like that. And developing film, which was really cool.
Shooting going like in a
darkroom? Yeah, that's really cool. Because then you can, it's like the real Photoshop. Like depending on the chemicals you add, exposure to light.
You can edit like when we say visual effects.
It'll change the effect of the image. So. Or if you don't develop film well, your pictures look terrible.
Come on, like, oh shit, that's sick. Oh damn.
It's an interesting craft to learn.
So you know Photoshop too, though?
Oh yeah.
So that's
I live in that. Unfortunately, it's like my day-to-day thing.
And when you guys were beginning with Droid Behavior here, do you remember your first interface that you played?
Yes and no. I forgot the number. But it was Surgeon, Hyperactive.
So from the beginning, all the interfaces had like a headline act in a sense. Like
yes, either international or
there we
local.
go. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We also wanted to focus more on the local scene as well as domestic forefronters in the United States. Yeah. And if there was someone big from the international scene, of course, bring them in.
And were you part of the first like Detroit trip?
No.
Or because I'm trying. There was a trip that I think I'm sure if you talked about it as well too, but you guys went with the record.
Yeah.
You guys kind of like
I think that was a year or two before I went to the first one. They've been going for. I lost count.
Maybe the very first one, maybe.
No, I want to say Mo's been going for at least 10 years, if not more, consecutively. He has not missed one, which is like amazing. And
okay, now he has Interface or Observe.
Yeah, which is our new baby kind of movement thingy.
Yeah. And from day one, were you taking pictures of Interface?
Not from the beginning. I think the first party was the 3-year anniversary, which was 2005.
Damn, but that's the 3-year anniversary.
That wasn't my first attended. The first attended was Interface 5 with Matthew Deere. Before Matthew Deere, how big he was, we had Jasper, which is Silent Servant. Yeah. Before that took off. And John Tejada.
Wait.
And I started taking pictures there.
Silent Servant used to go as?
Jasper. Mm-hmm. Look him up.
Juan.
Some good classic work right there, yeah.
The crazy thing about Juan.
Secret. Damn. That's not really a secret.
But, I didn't know that. The crazy, like, it's funny because at my work, and this lady, she's like, I was telling her that I DJ, I go to, warehouse parties and everything, and she's like, oh, my husband has a friend who has a son who's a big DJ. She's like, I can't remember the name, but one of these days I'll give it to you. I'm like, all right, sounds good. couple weeks pass, whatever. I didn't even think about it. And then she comes over. She's like, "Oh, hey, I got the name." And she has a little piece of paper, and she's opening it up. She doesn't even say it. I just see Silent Servant Juan Mendez, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "I know who that is." She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, he is big. Yeah, he's
Juan's dope.
yeah, he's like salutes to him." And she's like, "Oh wow." She's like, "Yeah, he said he's like pretty big, but
He's really big.
Yeah.
He plays a lot internationally, all over the place.
and here in LA too, frequently.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can kind of catch
Yeah,
him like at
which is
least for
great.
sure, couple times a month. So
For me, I think we had him at some interface in Detroit. We've had him out a lot, but we had him at this one interface in Detroit, and I was just looking at Mo drum sound the entire time. Where is he getting these tracks from? It was just so different and fresh, because it's hard sometimes to sound entirely different from our peers and
Yeah.
people in the group. And it was just incredible to hear what he was putting out. And then I heard him in Colombia recently at the Baum Festival, and
that was the.
I was like, this guy representing LA.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you were recording.
Destroyed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you're
I
right.
even
Yeah,
have videos of it.
yeah.
So, which I got to get him.
I was gonna tell you. Were you producing music at this time when Interface was 3-year anniversary and 5-year?
No. For me, I'm like a DJ at heart. I
Yeah.
started falling into music production about 2005.
Okay.
The problem I have is I always wind up trying to go in the studio making dance tracks, and it turns into like an ambient piece or down tempo, which I listen to a lot when I'm not listening to dance
So
music.
that's yeah.
It's hard for me to like have a format and stay in the 4/4/16/32 patterns and the whole musical breakdown experience
Oh, I feel you.
or formulas. But yeah,
The formula structure, whatever
there you
it
go.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Detroit, a little bit earlier. Do you remember the first time you got introduced to Detroit culture?
Yeah.
Because that's its own, like, that's the origins, So, like, when you, come to find about, about Detroit and then how Chicago and everything, do you remember how that came about?
Yes, no. It's kind of a big blur. I would have to say a big influence was Mo Drumsow, who showed me a lot of that stuff and the whole history. I always call him like Indiana Jones because he always finds things on the internet that no one can find. But he's like an historian in the sense of history of places and background and knowledge. He showed me a lot of cool stuff, and it was a really big eye opener for him to expose me to this kind of stuff. And the first Detroit I went with him was before it wasn't as tore up as it was then. It was kind of getting better, but still really bad. But that whole experience and them taking me to all the warehouses where Richie Hahn, aka Plastic Man, would throw his parties and see the culture and where it came from was what really hit home for me. And then I started studying about the founding fathers of techno and Jeff Mills and the whole Detroit sound, which is, I feel, a big kind of influence with the Detroit stabs, the vibe.
Yeah.
For me, that's kind of my influence. So it's played a big influence on my music.
And you mentioning, like Mo introducing you and, showing you a lot. How do you feel about now you filling in those shoes for a lot of people? A mutual friend, Pachuco, shout out to you. We mentioned this off the record, that you introduced you. He said, he's like, yeah, dude, Dean was the first person that was introducing me to like techno mixtapes. We were listening to, I forgot what he said, but it was
Dead Mouse.
There we go. Yeah, that's something like that.
Which is cool.
But that was that era, 2010ish or 2009ish or I'm not sure what exactly, but I'm telling you, that was that before the boom of EDM, or the boom was starting to happen for sure. And he said he's like, you would give him mixtapes because his sister.
He was always like interested into music, and I could tell that he was one of those kids who wanted to dive deeper / show me some stuff. And when I was little, my cousin who got me into raving, her older brother was in the scene in the early 90s, 1991, show us all the cool flyers. And as an artist, for me, I was like, this is amazing. And so he would give us mixtapes or tell us to go on Mars Radio, which I don't know if you remember, which is before Groove Radio. Mars Radio was a really hard channel. I want to say it was 100.3, but it was really hard to get on the dial. But they always played the sickest underground electronic music out. And, back in the 90s, it wasn't on radio stations. It was barely on tapes.
And then barely now, too. I doubt you from on the IE. Maybe the
But you got like EDM on channels, right? Like Kiss FM, they play EDM. I mean, that's not what you listen to, but I'm just there is no real underground source right now.
Yeah, I know. But at that time, like Mars Jet Radio would play like maybe at least more.
Like really cool stuff, and that's where we gained some of our knowledge. But that was like really hard to find. But then we had Power Tools in the '90s. But he reminded me of me when I was little, so I thought it was important to show him some extra stuff, or check this out, and he was into it. So he kept like asking me for more, and I was like, "Oh, check this out." Because
then he said and then he would show his friends, So that's the thing; it would be like a chain reaction,
So
which is great. Thinking about him, like, in a sense, again, because how, and also how you guys are all friends with Pachuco and Roos, and Danny and Kyle and Keon, So in a sense, you guys are all like close homies, but you guys are also have influenced them, to do what they're doing
that's
as
nice
well
to
too.
hear.
So that's just like also when I consider, like, I know I'm part of the community, but also like to kind of like see the outer perspective and see like, okay,
Yeah, it's nice to hear, because sometimes we feel like we're just playing music to like no one.
Oh man, dude, we're listening, we're listening, and we're feeling it, dude. Like, dude, it's amazing. And then with the whole like Observe and everything as well too. So
I love the Observe platform. Our new LED wall screen is incredible.
Yeah, with
Octaform Greg.
Yes.
Shout out to Greg.
Dude.
He the man.
Dude.
Greg's he holds us all together.
That is, and he's from Atlanta.
Hotlanta.
Dude, that's crazy, dude. Okay, that's crazy how you said that, because I wanted to say that, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna.
Why?
No, because
even people from Atlanta, like they like it.
Crazy.
I mean, it's hot. It's hot out there.
Because I told this. Okay, so at Observe, I helped break down, and the first.
You were there.
Yes, I was there. No, I'm glad you don't remember then, because.
Why?
Something happened.
Oh, you were that guy.
No, I wasn't that guy.
Oh,
that
man.
wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Like,
oh shit! No.
That's a little inside joke, which we won't explain.
Yes, but it was not me.
Okay, good.
I have to really clarify that.
It was your homie.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So that's exactly what I said. Like, glad you don't remember, but now you do remember. But we helped break down, and I remember I told Kyle, I'm like, he was telling me Greg, from Octaform. He's from Octaform.
Yeah, Octaform.
Yeah. He said he's from Atlanta, and I had told him, do you think he says Hotlanta? So it's funny how you said that he's from Hotlanta. I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
I think I got him saying it. He's repeated it.
Yeah.
It's classic. I need to still go out and visit him. I've known him for so long. I'm like, let's go to Atlanta. Let's go, or go to his party.
And how is he doing that? Like, so involved with the techno
that
scene
dude
from
is
Atlanta.
Amazing. I mean, he's a family man. I've lost count how many kids he has.
I have seen his Instagram.
It's a joke, Greg. I know how many kids you got. And he's got like a farm, not literally or figuratively. I mean, he's got a lot of animals. He's got kids.
Oh,
he's a busy guy. He's got a day job. He
tight.
designs stages for big productions.
Yeah.
That's his day job. And then he
because
does
he was
visuals
doing
for
stuff
like
Time Warp.
Time Warp.
Yes, yeah.
He's always working. His work ethic, I can't put a thumb on. It's all over the map. / he just gets the job done.
Yeah.
He's an amazing dude. It's funny because the first time I met him, we were in Detroit. I think Chris Leaving bought us tickets to go on the boat party.
Okay.
I forgot the river party, whatever it was, and we were like, nah, let's not go. And he's like, no, let's go. Or it might have been Michael Weicker, which was his ex-manager. I forgot who it was. Whatever. We were partying, we were having a good time, and there's this guy who comes up with an iPad, and I looked at him, I'm like, who's this dude? Are we watching flicks? And he's like, no, this is Greg. He's showing me his like portfolio and what he does for visuals. Because at the time we were looking for a new visualist, we had this guy named Brian. I forgot his last name. Palace? He used to go by CPU. He used to do all our visuals. But he went on tour with Richie Hahn to do, I forgot which tour they were doing, but he worked with his team and pretty much did his thing. And Mo and I were filling in the gaps here and there at some parties until we found someone. And then we found Greg, and the rest is history.
Yeah, because now he's like when...
Oh, we stepped it up big time with him. Well, he's really knowledgeable, and he helps us expand our vision and helps in a lot of different ways.
That's tight. That's sick. That's super sick. How do you feel about Interface ending, though? Or coming to an end?
I wanted to go to at least 20, and I remember we had a big talk a long time ago.
Because it was 15,
like, we're going to be like in our 40s. And I was like, and what? At least let's do to 20. I don't know what that number spoke to me. I just wanted to do 20. It's sad. It's been a good run. In some strange way, it's refreshing to do something new, but kind of take a piece of that and build upon a new platform.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss the other members that were a part. It's just, people grow, things change. I'm just happy that we're still doing a vision of how we like to do parties.
Yes.
That's important. I mean, if we didn't do anything, I'd be super sad. And at the time, there was no new outlet. And when the news got broken to me, I just got a new car. And I was excited. I just parked in my place. I was like, yeah, I got a new car. And they're like, you sitting down? I was like, what? And then they told me, and I was like, oh. Wow. Okay. So I just think it was kind of time.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to go a little bit longer, but it is what it is.
Because to be honest, dude, I only experienced
which one's
the last interface.
No way.
Yeah, dude, I swear
that was a good one.
Dude, yeah.
That was a good one.
That was the last one. It was that 12-hour. No. Was it a 12-hour party?
I think it was 15.
Yeah, something like that.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it went, yeah.
And we were all like, wait, what? Because we're older now. And
you didn't want to?
Staying at 6. Because after the party, even if it goes to 6, we still wind up breaking down, making sure it's okay.
I experienced that at breakdown.
Meeting with the owner.
Oh, no, I didn't go too long. But
handling business. And we don't leave till like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I remember there was the first time we brought Speedy J. I want to say that was the 4-year anniversary. So that was 2006, maybe 2007.
Yeah.
Which was an amazing party. We didn't leave there till like 12, maybe 2 p.m. I even fell asleep, and everyone was throwing things at me. I was tired. I needed a nap. It was hard. It's hard work. Those parties are no joke. Yeah. It's a lot of work that goes into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when we broke down for Observe,
stuff for us, you know what I mean?
To be honest, that's the even reason why we broke down, because of that incident. I told because Danny was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. I told him, what time are you leaving? He's like, no, I'm staying here till break down. And then I was feeling very, very good, on some ecstasy. and I told Danny, like, hey dude, I'm down to chill, man. I'm like, our homie just
Wait, were you the dude on the couch? No, that was another guy.
No, well,
there was a guy on the couch. No, we were like, dude, you gotta go home. And he was like, why? And I'm like, the party's over. We won't go home.
Oh no. No,
I felt bad, but.
Oh no, we no, because I'm saying the incident that with our homie did happen in the couch, but it wasn't that But yeah, I told Danny, like, hey, I'm down at breakdown, and then we were breaking down, and that I got to really see, like, one of the first times I saw Mo, kind of like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna take that, also directing us, we're gonna take the lights down, we're gonna do this, and it was a breakdown, like serious, but also it was just cool to see everybody still like,
yeah,
hang out at the end and be, helping, yeah.
It's done, it's over with,
and it was a successful, yeah.
But there's been some crazy parties where we have to put projectors in unsafe places, where Greg had to crawl up and get it, and I don't know how heavy these projectors are, so. It's hard for us to do that now, especially how much time and energy we get sleepy.
Yeah.
And it gets harder.
Can you
harder.
feel the years of raving?
Yeah, and I just recently turned 38, and it's been a big eye opener.
Yeah.
When I hit 37, I was like, yeah, I'm still young. I felt like I was in my 20s. This year, it was like a slap to the face. Maybe I'm having like a mid-30 crisis. It's not even mid-30s because I'm 38. I guess mentally I feel like I'm at 35.
No, but that's the thing. I always trip out that, that you guys say that, like, oh, man, dude, we're old. I'm like, but the thing is that I still see you guys as, like, even this, I want to say the same generation, but not the same generation because of so much stuff that you guys have done already. Mm-hmm. But I still kind of feel like, you guys still have a long way to go. So
yeah, we do have a long ways to go.
And also too, because you guys are still so like relevant, like, and that's one of the questions too. What do you do, or what do you feel that you do that to stay relevant in the scene? You still play gigs, and then so.
I think it's very important to continue to make mixes, do podcasts, have gigs, and show up and support randomly here and there, and check out your scene. I guess that's an integral part, because a lot of the times, all of us want to just hide and are crazy. It sounded nuts.
Baseball.
Right?
Baseball.
you want to hide in your studio, make some beats, and I tell everyone it's important to like continue to make mixes, even if it's not on a podcast, to make sure you didn't disappear. Because some people will disappear for a while, and it's harder for them to get back in the scene, depending on who they are. Not everyone. And it's important to at least show up and play a gig here and there, show some support, do some podcasts. Because a lot of people now are like, well, I don't want to waste my time and do another mix or podcast. And I'm like, I treat podcasts like any other gig. And if not even more, because those mixes are going to be heard a lot of times.
And they're like, on a sense, like...
It's global.
Yeah.
So you can reach a lot of different audiences, and I like that.
That's sick. Oh, damn, that's good tips. This is for... like us as well too, because that's something I kind of always dabble as well too. Like, damn, should I do another, like, podcast or radio, internet radio, and like I don't want to wear out, like,
overdo it,
yeah, and but that's another good perspective, like.
Yeah, you're reaching out to people. I think it's safe to say, there's a certain number. Don't go over the board. One year, I think I did like 6 or 7 podcasts. And for me, when I do mixes or podcasts, I want them to breathe a little bit so they get their time to shine, kind of thing. Because, everyone wants the latest and greatest, so they'll just kind of skip on over that one.
Yeah.
But on my Mixcloud page, which I feel I don't know anyone goes to that anymore.
Yeah.
But I archive every mix I've ever made.
Well, yeah, that's what I was listening to on the 7-year mix on the way over here. That Pachuco sent it over.
Yeah.
That's on
Mixcloud. There. Yeah. And so I like to archive the entire collection there, and then SoundCloud is more for tracks and more recent mixes.
Yeah.
That way you can hear all that.
Yeah, because SoundCloud gives you like a limit if you don't have a plan, huh? Like a pro plan or something.
Oh, I pray for the pro plan.
Yeah,
it's unlimited.
Yeah,
you have to, because it's like a tape. So every minute, they allow you a certain.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And mixes take up like 75%.
I know. So you're like, I think I remember like with 2 episodes, whatever. You can just be like, yep, like, hey, it's not uploaded yet. If you want to increase your space.
Yeah.
Yeah, but talking about podcasts, you've done the Chris Leaving podcast.
CLR
podcast episode 308. So if anybody wants to check it out, I gotta check that out. So
sweet.
Yeah. How did that come about?
I think he came into town. I don't know if I played with him in an LA gig. I think I did. I opened him up at some party, and he was in town. He was like, "Hey man, you want to go to Denver?" And I was just like, "Okay, cool, let's go." And so we went. And we had a blast there. That's a whole nother story that I don't want to talk about. Maybe Chris can talk about that weekend. And we got back, and he's like, hey, how do you feel? Or it might have been before we went to Denver, but I was at his place that he was staying at in Venice. And he was like, hey, would you like to do the podcast?
He lives in Venice, right?
No, he doesn't. He just visits a lot.
Oh, somebody said that he lived in... Oh, okay.
Somebody
said that. Okay, never mind then.
No, he just comes a lot, which I feel like you should maybe next month. But... he asked me, would you like to do the podcast? And I was like stunned and shocked, because I've always wanted to ask, but I was like, no, I don't want, because I'll ask sometimes, but I'm very want the mutual respect of someone asking me instead of pushing it on someone. Yeah,
I bet you it kind of does feel good to kind of hey, what do you want to oh shit, and direct.
Yeah. And I got super excited, and he's like, hey, you have 1 week. And I was like, what? So I just got home from Denver, made the mix, and submitted it, and was super nervous, because that's a super big platform. And you know how the techno scene is, so I just...
You said how the techno scene.
Well, we call it the chin strokers. Everyone's super intelligent in the essence of knowing techno, so everyone's a little bit more scrutinizing.
They're little more knowledgeable and
and you're on the map. Who are you? Why are you doing this podcast? Kind of judgy things. So I just was trying to make the best track selection, which I was really happy with it.
Did you ever feel that you crossed the threshold of just another local DJ? Because you're not just another local DJ,
No. Yeah.
I want to say local, I don't say LA scene, even though...
Yeah, I've played out. Yeah, Mexico has been a blast.
Oh, dude, I just went to Mexico City.
Mexico City's dope.
For the first time last month in August.
Food's incredible.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
Man, we were... dude. And I don't really drink soda, but I was drinking Coke.
Oh, their Coke's amazing.
All the time. I had an opportunity. I even said, I'm like, man, I'm not from here, but I don't even drink soda, but give me a Coke. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. So... But yeah, and but did you feel that you ever crossed that threshold?
Yeah, and it's important for me to sit more in the studio to keep going on that ride. And for me, I love making sounds for a track. When it comes to sitting there and structuring the actual piece of what I made creatively, it's hard. I think because naturally I'm a DJ,
Yeah.
or that's what I like doing is playing sounds
Yeah.
and mixing things.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to sit there and actually come out with something, but I'm getting a little bit better at it, and I think hopefully that'll help with traveling more. I'm working with 4-Track too as well, which is Hyperactive's label. So hopefully in the future
shit,
I'll
sick.
be having some releases coming out on that label.
Oh, damn. Nice.
So yeah, I've been working a lot with JoJo and the whole 4-Track family. So.
Oh shit, that's super sick. That's super sick. You've also played with Jimmy Edgar. He's one of my faves.
Jimmy Edgar's a really cool guy. Yeah, we've had him back at. There's these parties that we used to call Friendly Integration, which was a collaboration with Droid and I think it was Detroit Underground, which is like Kiro and Derek Michael and all them.
Yeah.
And they were friends with them, so we threw parties in that collaboration. And that's how I wound up playing with Jimmy, which was interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think I played in the same room. It might have been in a 2-room.
Oh, okay, but
wait,
but still same lineup.
After me, the second
same
one.
lineup.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, he was on the lineup.
What about with Richard Devine?
No, Rich.
He's you guys' homie, right?
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. That dude is an alien.
Oh, well, yeah,
His music
I've
is
seen.
incredible.
Yeah, I've seen his like videos
Even
of
when
all
he
that.
plays live, I always tell him like, how do you know what every knob does? There's no labels. Either.
I know, right? Like, yeah.
It's amazing.
Do you know like modular stuff?
A little bit. I like how they function, but not on their level. Even this other dude I've been hanging out with is Anthony Baldino. He IDM experimental. He played at the last Black Noise party with Richard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's done a lot of big scoring for Star Wars films. Does a lot of trailers.
Right.
This guy is like Divine, but more. I feel cinematic. I think Divine can do this. He has or does similar stuff. But Baldino's style is similar.
Okay.
Played all live as well on his modulars as well. No computer.
Yeah.
No computer. Just going on.
And you know how you're saying like, you know, cinematic and stuff. I think Santiago Salazar has done a track for a Scion commercial.
Oh yeah.
So you see how that's the cool thing of like, you know, music production and stuff that you can kind of, you know, do. I think maybe Mo has done something like that too.
Yeah,
no?
Mo's done. He's got some stuff in the work.
Yeah.
It's this whole like Hypoxia project
Yes,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Fits really well, or even Belief Effect. I don't know.
With Luis
Luis
Flores.
Flores.
Yes. Oh my God.
Definitely
yes.
check that out.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Their video that I forget where they were at. I'm not sure if it's Berlin or somewhere, but
Atonal.
oh, it was at Berlin.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, that was.
That
their
just
debut.
happened this year's. Oh, so they played over there as well too. Damn. And Otono's like more, like it has. I don't want to say like a more of a not cinematic,
It's
but
very
something
artsy.
very artsy, very.
It's
I
a
don't know what to call it,
platform
but yeah.
for IDM experimental music to have a stage for.
Yeah.
With special type of screens and lighting, which is great.
Yeah.
People sit too. It's not expected to like where people stand.
There we go. Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes
yeah.
at the Black Noise parties, you know, some people I think feel more like obligated to play dance music because people are watching you than like sitting and relaxing, which that music's more made for.
Just to kind of like take it in.
Like it's a concert or.
There we go. That's what I wanted to say. Like more like not an orchestra, but like you're saying, not like a concert. Yeah, sitting down,
enjoying the music, taking it in.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's important for the artist.
And what are some of the best and worst things that's happened to you in this? Let's start with the best. What's some of the good things that, you know? Well, of course, traveling, all these friends.
Food culture. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing for me. How playing music in venues in different places of the world and experiencing culture through music is really cool.
That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, and there's language barriers sometimes, but it's just awesome to go around the world and play your style of music, and they're looking forward to it, and just being with that kind of vibe. So the worst, I started on vinyl in my early days, and then I transitioned into Tractor Vinyl Control, DVS.
Yeah, I have that.
I think that's what it's called.
Tractor Scratch, yeah.
Well, I mean the type of system, but it doesn't matter. Anyways. And
Oh yeah, because it is a DVS, one.
yeah.
DVS, yeah.
And they had the turntables for me. There was a hole in the stage where they put like a platform over it, so you had to I had to play where if you stepped in it, it would flex and you'd probably go through. And so I had to play with my legs like split out. I was doing the splits. And I was like, so I have to play like this the whole time because with vinyl, you know, any movement on the stage, the needle jumps, so you have to stay still. And on top of that, there was no ground cable for the turntable, so there was a hum. And the guy who played before me, I think played on CDJs or something. I don't really remember. So they soldered a ground cable while I was playing. Which was amazing. They did this, but it was funny to try to play
Well, they're actually
doing
trying to
that.
ground your
Yes. I was like, that's it. I'm done with this setup. I'm going to go to controllers for a bit. And then now, like, I'm on CDJs.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah. Like, no more carrying gear.
Yeah, that's
It's a nightmare, especially when you're not, like, Richie Hahn and you got, like, a team or someone who sets it up for you. I mean, if someone was doing that, I'd be on that all day.
Exactly, yeah.
But for us, we got to
plug in your old stuff. Yeah, it's kind of like, when I use Tractor, so when I go in, like, well, I played at Synthetic Minds in 6 a.m., but we got there early for sound check, so we plugged in and made sure everything was good, and we just left it there, and then when it was time to go in, just popped it open the laptops and went in.
Yeah, but then sometimes when you come in like later in the night, I've done it where I pulled out the wrong cable and one side of the party goes out. I was like, just kidding, and I plugged it back in. I mean, we're human, we make mistakes, and it's dark. I mean, it happens, and I feel bad for the DJ. And there's nothing worse than like reaching over someone.
Just
hey,
kidding.
Don't worry, don't worry. Sorry, I know I play in 30 minutes. Just get it.
Actually, that kind of happened to us when we were Shadow and Obscure. We were direct support. So Shadow, he was plugging in, I think, a reverb thing, whatever, and he moved some cable, and then you just hear, we're playing, you can hear the and we're like, oh shoot, and then sound guy comes in, and he's just trying to make sure the cables are in and everything. So
well, now we got professionals to do that, which I think is great, especially for the guys who set up their system. Yeah, that's good.
Cool. And earlier you were talking about photography and everything.
Yeah.
What is Bit 23?
So Bit 23,
I know they have a connection, right? Maybe.
Okay, so I have this weird fascination with 23. My birthday is May 23rd as well. It's kind of like that movie with Jim Carrey, 23. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's
Jim Carrey, 23.
So for me, the number 23, I don't know what it is. It comes up everywhere for me. It's weird. And since 23, I love Jordan too. Michael Jordan is a big fan of me. And a lot of big, I think even LeBron was 23. Or like even
Kobe?
Magic Johnson was 32, but that's 23 reverse.
Is Kobe 23?
I think he was for a while. I'm not too sure, but there was a lot of big sports players who are 23 as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing. But for me, the bit part is because it's digital photography, and bits as in bits make an image up. And 23 is being part of like a numer thing.
Yeah.
I guess the whole concept was I was going for like it's like chemistry symbols where you have like the type of chemical like a AU and then the number at the top, the periodic table.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I wanted that like style,
and everything,
and I just thought of it as an element to photography. So 23, Bit 23.
It's the Dean Paul element.
It's kind of it's like just this weird little thing I thought of, and I was like, I'm gonna roll with it because for me, that's why Dean Paul is my name. I had names like Cyrus. That was like earlier in the days where you try to come up with DJ names.
Yeah.
Someone always has your name. Yeah. Unless you're that good and you can think of a really cool name. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to go with my name and roll with it.
I know it's sick because it's Dean Paul. So it's first name and your middle name.
No, I don't have a middle name.
Oh, same.
Dean Paul.
Dean Paul.
It's whole first name.
And then last name, De Leon.
Correct.
And have you ever DJed as Dean Paul De Leon?
No, I think there was one old school party that did that, and I was like, it's really long. So
you're like, what the?
It's formal. It's not me, but okay.
That's why, because Guillermo, I go as Guillermo, but I don't go as Guillermo Aguilar. And I'm like, you know what? Just my first name. Bah.
Yeah, it's catchy. It's good. It's different,
simple,
and that's important.
Yeah, I used to go as Mellow Attire.
Mellow Attire?
Yeah, nobody has that, but I saved that handle. But everybody will always tell me if I'm working on a clothing line. I'm like, no.
That's cool. Yeah, that's different. That's different. I haven't heard of that before.
But and you have in a sense like a day job.
Yeah, so I have two lives.
well, that's the thing. Because even Silent Servant Juan Mendes has an interview. How he talks about
we're
that.
similar in the sense we're both artists, and he's probably more of a musician than I am. In the sense of, I think he plays instruments. I used to play the accordion when I was little.
Yeah.
And learned how to write music through playing the bells, which is hilarious in the 8th and 7th grade at the school I went to. That's how I learned how to like understand and read and write music, but he knows that more than me.
And how do you find the balance you know, because sometimes I know people like balance to like.
Oh,
people
art
who,
and
like,
music, the similarities. You know, it's funny because my parents always say you need to pick one, and I keep telling them like, no.
well, you see, that's the
But I
common.
had
That's the common thing, or the whole like the thing that's pushed down. Like, you
Well,
know,
I think
you
they're
can't do both things. You know, and when I see like you and also Tony and Silent Servant, you know,
Yeah.
Juan and
like he's a coder, he's a sick hacker. Like that's his day job, and then he makes like really cool music at night. But what's interesting for me, I don't know
he's a
about like
hacker.
Juan or Tony, the different styles of work / what we're interested into
Yeah.
helps. How do you want to say? Give you a creative energy to do different things and benefit from one or the other.
Yeah.
So for art and music, like with art, I get inspired to create music a certain way or play music a certain way. Or with my music, I get a vision with art and creativity from it.
And you said right now you mentioned about kind of like influencing, you know, to influence your art. Your photography. You also, because when I went to Tony's house, he had like a little picture, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, what is this?" And he's like, "Yo, that's Dean Paul's art." He takes pictures, but he adds like little stuff into it because it's like an actual picture. And how did you come up with that type?
I don't know.
Just kind of like doing
I've
stuff?
always the figure I'm into. I hate to use the word toys, but they're
little space,
they're little characters.
like a little astronaut, no?
Yeah, it was.
A little
What's the name
space.
of it? Mo introduced me. Don't mind the dogs, but Mo introduced me to these type of characters, and I fell in love with them. And I thought it'd be cool to add a picture that I took and put them in front of it.
Yeah.
It kind of makes no sense, even when I look at it now. But it just looked cool.
No, but it's
And I
sick
was
how
like-
Tony has it up there, like, you know.
Yeah, I made a couple of them, like limited edition ones, and gave them to friends,
yeah.
and had extra frames and had extra characters. And well, I don't know if you paid attention to, but the robot had an R on it.
Oh no.
Baroque.
I'm not sure.
So-
So that was like kind of.
Because
like
I
in a
have one
sense-
too in my room, but it's got a D on it.
Okay.
So the
It's
symbol.
you guys. It's you guys, like a little astronaut,
we're
little man. You know?
Geminis, but I think I gotta give. There's someone who just asked me to do another.
Oh, so
project for
Gemini?
them.
No.
We're both
Geminis
Geminis.
Is Gemini's the no?
The yin and the yang.
No,
No, we're
I'm
just
not
two
sure.
people.
Okay, no. No.
different
Oh yeah, but it is. Yeah,
personalities.
Gemini's is two people, right? The whole like.
Supposedly
Two
we're
personality-
two-faced,
yeah.
according to people.
No, but yeah. Well, people say
There's
Leo's.
personalities. That's all I gotta say. Dual.
It's not good. I think everybody. Look, I think everybody
Everyone
deep
does.
down is like, everybody can has like, it's all good though. And coming to the end of the
The podcast.
episode, but what was your memorable gigs or your memorable like lineups too?
Oh, I think this kind of goes with it. You also asked me a question about the interface in Amsterdam.
Yes.
So we can do that one.
You played
Is it
Amsterdam Interface 49.
That was a memorable gig for me.
Dude.
That was my first time playing in Amsterdam.
Was it a reactor party?
Yeah, but it
collab?
was ADE weekend,
Yes,
which
because
was massive.
Danny told me about. You guys did a collab with ADE, and it was a reactor and.
Yeah, we did 2
Jordan.
years with them. We did exclusive parties.
It
with
was the
them.
second year of Interface.
Over there, yeah. We did a year before that with them as well. And that was cool too, but this was next level. And I didn't play at the other one. I just went and took photos and video
Yeah.
for everyone and documented the party, which was fun. The second party was straight bonkers. Their visual wall, I think there's videos of it online. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen it. It's really, really cool. It's
Is it?
almost 180. But it's,
I think
it's
so.
Like a,
Yes,
it's like
yes.
a U, but
Yeah.
like minus this one
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Sound system was bonkers, and that was the time I was still on tractor, and I had to put the laptop on. I think it was a jacket, or because the foam wasn't even helping. It was getting like shell shocked. It was skipping. The screen was glitching.
Because it was hot, or just the
No, it was
heat,
just
or
a vibration
Really?
from the sound, and I wasn't even that close to the
I didn't even know
sound
that
system.
can happen.
Oh yeah, that was an older hard drive. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure SSDs don't do that because there's no
Mm.
moving parts.
Oh,
This is
I
another
see what you're
hard
saying. I
drive.
see what you're saying.
The
I see
needle
what you're
was
saying.
probably going crazy or whatever. Just didn't
Yeah,
like it.
I see what you're saying.
And I was worried
Yeah.
about I think I played 2 hours the entire time if it was going to overheat and crap out. It didn't. It survived, but the vibe was amazing. And I think that was the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. And I was a nervous wreck because that's a big party. It's a huge representation.
Yeah.
It's my first time in Amsterdam.
Dude,
It was hard.
That's
I
crazy.
just had to
An 80
relax.
weekend, so people were going hard.
Yeah. That was weekend bonkers.
I
And
got-
we
I
were
got
all
to-
so busy.
I got to experience 80 last year.
80's great. I tell everyone to go there.
Yeah.
Amsterdam's beautiful. If I had a job, I'd
Amazing.
move there instantly. It's
Dude,
clean.
yeah, Elijah
People
and
are
I always
cool,
were
the
like, we
canals,
joke,
the
we're like,
culture.
dude, we want to get a job at a record shop, at a coffee shop,
Hilarious.
and then get some like DJ gigs, on the weekend, or whatever it is, But
Yeah.
that would be the ideal, like,
Yeah. That'd be
thing
cool
to do.
That, you know what's funny? That was always my vision in the '90s. Work at a record shop, get free records, or at least get the cool
The
stuff.
hookup, or also not
You
the
get to
hookup, but
pick
like
before everyone else
exactly.
does.
There we go. Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know in the '90s record stores, whatever they had on their wall, if you didn't grab it that day, it's pretty much gone. You can maybe find it if they pressed a lot. But a lot of the European stuff, they couldn't afford to buy that stuff, so they would buy like one of each and see what it would sell. And once it goes, it goes. You can no longer get it. And there was no online stores. There was no
Discogs or Juno.
Juno, there you go. Or other sources or outlets to buy online. So.
And when you would go to record shops, was vinyl expensive? Or do you think the price has changed from vinyl?
It's doubled, almost tripled in some sense. I mean, we were buying singles. If it was domestic, it was $5. Maybe 3 or 4.
Was that was pretty cool? Because right now, like $3
most of
be
it
a
wasn't
used.
domestic. It was all imported. Most of it. I mean, there was labels from Midwest and some of the East Coast and some of the West Coast doing stuff, but not as much as the bigger, newer, fresher sound from Europe that was coming in.
And did you ever play at some Midwest parties?
I played Minneapolis in 2008.
Minneapolis, is that from where DBS1 is
Zach's from? Dustin Zahn, Mike Gervais. Enemy.
You guys are friends with Dustin Zahn, huh?
Oh yeah, he's the homie.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
He has a podcast called Trainwrecks.
Dude, I keep telling him, bring it back. I love that podcast.
He stopped it, right?
Yeah, it's hard for him. He's a busy guy.
Yeah.
And that takes, it's hard for him to constantly get new
Dustin,
people in.
I can be your assistant.
But I love the format, how open and chill.
Yeah, I think
the first one with Mo and
yes,
Mo
and
was it JoJo Hyperactive.
No, with Mo and David.
Yeah.
It's all three of them. Yeah.
Well, one, Mo doesn't drink too much. So
that's exactly what they even said. Yeah.
Special, and he gets a certain funny way. And it was just interesting to see how they interact with one another, but to see the gradual openness as a result of the alcohol was really interesting. I like that.
That's tight. No, yeah. That's one of also there's like several podcasts that have inspired this podcast that I'm doing, but that's one of them for sure as well too. Just kind of like talking to people like you and everything as well too. Now I can check off the Dean Paul episode. What's good, y'all? But yeah. So any more memorable, like, besides the Amsterdam party? Any memorable LA party? Los Angeles party? The Observe.
Yeah,
the first
I'm trying
one.
to think of like a...
Did you like the Observe party? That was good. It was fun. I loved the first one. The first Observe.
Phenomenal. Great location.
At the little hangar.
Amazing.
That was so sick.
When we first saw it, I was like, no, well, excuse my French, fucking way. And they're like, why not? I'm like, there's no doors here. Like, there's barn doors.
Oh, you're right.
And
yeah.
most of the time, they're either open or closed. And I'm like, dude, the street's right there. There was a gas station on the other side. I thought it was super risky. It worked out. And I thought it was going to vibrate too much, but then the walls were actually cemented on the outside.
So you covered it.
And it was the right space for the right location. The screen looked amazing. We put like this bleacher style seating in so people can sit on the sides. You can get a higher perspective.
Yes. I was. Dude, when I was on it, I'm like, finally, I'm tall.
Which is good for photos or just chilling out on the side without having to be in the mix.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, most undergrounds, there's no seating available. So it helps. Not everyone can stand all the time.
I'm telling you, it was so lit that Elijah and I had to leave.
Memorable party.
Yeah, and we came back. Yes.
10-year anniversary. We had Marcel Detman. I played there.
Oh.
I want to say it was a studio that I think Nine Inch Nails did a video at, or someone really big. No, that was another interface. Scratch that. Embarrassing. But this was a studio for production and television, movies and all that. But we had 180-degree visuals. We had 4 projectors.
Jeremy, tell me about that.
That party, that venue was super dope, clean. There was like showers for us, because a lot of the times if we go to far venues, we usually stay out there because we can't make the commute. So sometimes we can shower and get ready, and sometimes we can't. That had everything for us to get ready, have a proper spot to hang out and chill and detach and do production stuff. But the 180 degrees with the visuals and the size they were at, that was like next level. We've never done 4. We usually do 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That was 4.
Yeah.
And on stands.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's so sick. And did you, like, because I'm trying to say, like, that party was packed, for sure, of people.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see the gradual increase of, like, the first interface party, and then the 15th year anniversary, or the last one, I'm telling you, because it was like, the homie Roscoe, who's in New York. You know Roscoe. Well, you talked to him. I seen him. You talked to him at a party. So I seen you guys talk before. So I probably.
Didn't he used to live here?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, I went to.
Yeah.
He used to live in the IE. He's from the IE.
Okay.
Then he lived Pasadena, and then now he's in New York for several years already.
Yeah, he's like Acid House.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. Techno too, but yeah,
too,
I know he's been pumping a lot of acid out. But yeah.
Oh, that's a crazy big ass spider right there.
Oh shit! I thought it was
Wow.
I thought it was a bee floating like in the.
Damn.
Damn.
That's pretty crazy. Wow, he's moving pretty fast.
Hey, I know. That's exactly. I thought I was just kind of floating right there.
I mean, I knew we were in the.
Yeah, we're not under the,
Okay,
the tree.
we'll be alright for a while.
That's funny because this is when I did Billy's episode. There was a spider right in his face as well too.
Oh.
He's like, "Oh shit!" And then I think it happened to me as well too. So this is the second episode with spiders.
So should I talk about some of my favorite DJs real quick?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so.
Well, actually, yeah, because before. No, yeah, you can do that and have another question, but it's also gonna be related. So.
For me, I don't really listen to DJs too much. I enjoy listening to mixes of friends to hear new music, to hear new styles of mixing, hear what's going on, and that's very important for me because it's very different for someone to make good music, but then to play out. There's a ton of great producers, but they're shitty DJs.
Yeah, I heard that comment. Like, not every producer is a DJ, and also not every DJ is a producer.
I mean, they got a format and a brain to do it this way and not understand of moving a crowd. It takes a very special person like David. David's a very good person to understand between the production and DJing. Mo as well. Even the Raiz brothers, Tony, all of them. We're all, well, except for the brothers. The brothers were more, I think.
Producers?
They kind of dabbled in DJing, but they were more making tracks and playing their tracks
live, right?
Yeah, the rest of us, we all did it separately, but started as DJs. Or that was our MO. Yeah. So that's an integral part. But for me, inspiring DJs, if I was to have to go out these days.
Besides the Droid Behavior brothers.
Yeah, the family, always support. Collabs with Speedy J and Chris Leaving.
Hey.
Whenever they're around, please go check them out. That's like mind-melting insaneness. And they got this weird banana thing they pass back and forth. I don't know if you know, behind the stage.
A banana?
It symbolizes who's on next or when to take over kind of thing. Jesus, there's the spiders.
They're coming out.
So
wait, so banana? So they kind of pass it to each other?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, your turn to take over.
And they have a banana.
Yeah.
A real banana?
Yeah.
A real banana?
Yeah, a real banana.
Fruit.
I think someone eats it at the end, or I don't know, maybe they're hungry. I've never seen anyone eat it, so I don't want to make that assumption. But they have a banana that pass it back and forth. But beyond that, their music is incredible. When they both play together, they all have their own little separate drum machines, and they're like on 4 decks. So it's 8 decks.
Shit.
They're both very different but similar in how they play. And when they come together, I don't think they ever practice either. They may jam for a bit, like on sound.
But
setup.
it's like
straight raw, which is amazing. It's all spontaneous.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been making tracks together and been homies for years, so I think they understand like each other's sound and how they move through stuff. But that's an awesome sight to see. For me too, Jeff Mills, because he's such an innovator and so different and so weird.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see and fresh.
Yeah.
Juan, we talked about earlier, Silent Servant, also goes by Jasper.
Jasper.
Rohad, I played with before.
Oh, you did? You played at
613.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of 613.
Really cool guy. His label's awesome, and his style is really good too.
That's fucking sick.
Ben Clock, who always rocks it. We've had him out at Interfaces. Another humble guy who just really knows how to move the crowd and just gets in the zone and just plays, which I liked. And DJ Deep, who we had at the last
at the Interface,
who's a classic techno producer and DJ.
Yeah.
But for me, like I guess missed his first wave, so I started getting into his old like newer kind of stuff, and it was.
You see, that's the cool thing about like
funk, the more vibey kind of techno.
Yeah. There's like these DJs have like different waves, you know. Like,
and I think that's important because there's a lot of techno out there, but
Would you consider yourself that you have different waves as well too, like from you when you started? Because like when the mix that I was listening to, the first couple of tracks,
very minimal.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then you did go techno. You started getting more like like not chuggy, but you kind of started. Yeah, so it's just like I'm like, okay, dude, you can hear the difference as well too, and it's pretty cool.
Like I was in the huge techno harder movement. It was just harder for me to play hard that long because I've been always into groove and funk and bass lines.
Yeah, that's your casual play. mixed too. You weren't going like hard.
No,
Yeah.
that was like an homage to like the old '90s of
Oh,
the
okay.
techno and
Okay.
house
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But I got from like tribal house to minimal for more of its funk and bass and slower tempo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like back in the days when they were doing the was it Minus stuff too,
Yeah.
with El Richie and all the Magda and all them.
Mm-hmm.
It was just weird, different, and people can kind of vibe more. It wasn't. It just you can play it at different venues
Yeah.
without feeling you got to go to a rave or an intense show to play that kind of music. And I
Yeah.
fell into that, and I think that's where I kind of fell into the Droid family because everyone else was playing jack ear kind of stuff, and I was playing more of like the chiller
Mm-hmm.
techno, minimal,
Yeah.
which fit with opening sets or different venues.
Yeah.
I guess that's how I fell into it.
That's facts. And what do you want the listeners to get out of this interview?
Don't stay outside after dark with mosquitoes and spiders because we're getting bit the fuck up right now. Wait, what were we talking about?
was
'Cause I got
that?
distracted.
I
Jeez.
said, what do you
Hearing all kinds of weird noises.
what do you want the listen? I know. Well, I'm telling you. After that,
I was
after we
surprised haven't
spotted.
getting kicked out yet.
Hey, but the spider's right there still.
Where? Fuck.
Right there.
Oh, dude, now
Is
I'm
it getting
old.
closer?
I don't know.
It's
But
right there
anyways.
though, but
But-
it's coming down now.
oh
It's
my
right there.
god, it's a big one, dude.
Dude, it's going like up and down, bruh.
Oh, he probably sees us right now. Well, just
All
keep
right,
your eye on
yeah.
it. But what we're saying, what the listeners
I
want to
said,
get out
no,
from
well,
this.
yeah. What do you want? Like, or is
I guess it's a kind of like our last observe flyer. Don't believe everything you see / hear.
Yeah.
Be your own voice and try to find new places to experience music, even if it's not what you listen to, and try to dig deeper than what you hear today and be open. There's a lot of people who show me different music that I get into because it's so different. And I think it's important for music enthusiasts to keep diving, keep trying to find new places to party and support your local scene. That's also
Yeah.
important. And just be, I don't even know how to say it.
No, because
happy.
the thing is, and the thing is, like,
Positive.
like honestly, like, you're an influence to a lot of people as well too. Whether
I guess.
well, now you know it. So. And but before even that too, is there any projects or anything that you would like? Maybe some upcoming gigs that that you would want
Yeah,
to.
there's this really big party. I can't tell you because if I even say the date, it's
You
coming
would
up
know
in the
already.
next couple months. It's gonna be really good. That'll be really
Is there
happy to play.
is there another Observe party?
Not liberty to say.
Okay.
Wait, when's this podcast come out?
Well, it comes. Well, that is true. October.
Yeah, I don't. That might be a little too close.
No, it's
Pretty.
okay. We'll leave us hungry.
Okay.
So
That party, just working with 4-track and hopefully make some more beats in the studio.
we'll see you. We'll probably see you out and about at some parties. 'Cause that's the thing
Yeah.
as well too. That from you, from the get go, when I was like really coming out a lot to LA and everything, I would see you a lot. I would see you a lot like at a lot of parties. So first I'm like, who is that guy? I see him everywhere. Like who? Like like, and then when
That's
people were
terrible.
like,
Not that much.
No, well, not like that, but like kind of like or I don't know, maybe you just have a face that stands out, and I was just like, not like you said it like that.
I'm like, is that good too? Dude, I get it. Yeah, I am out a lot. I'm out either shooting the homies or supporting.
Yeah, and then exactly, I always
photos.
see taking pictures, and also too, they're like, yeah, that's Team Paul, and then a quick Google search, you'll pop up, and you already know what it's about. So,
Unfortunately, yes.
but
Should I share some links?
yes, actually, yeah. So where can we find you?
Oh, did you want to know about the book too?
Wait, what the fuck? Yeah,
missed that.
dude. Wait, yeah,
All right,
dude.
well, let's hold on.
Yeah, dude. You came out on a book, which is
Sure,
downtown LA.
I also want to talk about real quick. Yeah, we'll go back to that real quick. But let's go back to the influential musicians:
Yes.
Plastic Man,
Oh yeah.
Anthony Baldino, Richard Devine, Surchai, Belief Defect, Apoxia, Deru, Alessandro Cortini, who's another homie of ours.
Okay.
Really cool music. Aphex Twin, Boards of Canada, Odd Techer, Joanna Johnson. I think I said that right. He did the soundtrack to Mandy. Did you ever watch that movie with Nicolas Cage?
No, but
Really good independent
but I
movie.
think I know the name of the artist.
Yeah, it was directed by Panos Cosmatos. I think that's how you say it. He's an Italian director, I
Oh
think.
shit, Mandy.
And Burial.
Oh yeah. Sick,
Super dope.
dude. Belief Defect though.
Oh, dude, next level. They're getting there.
They're
They
fucking-
make some
yeah.
weird, really.
Hey, they're
cool-
both playing at Soft Leather. Next, no,
Really?
Not next week, but the following.
September?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the date?
Yeah, September 28th, I think. Yeah, look. Luis Flores, but not as Belief Defect.
Oh, they're just playing separately.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be a good party. That'd
Yeah.
be really good. That would be my first soft leather party.
Ooh, you're
Never
fun.
been.
You should get whipped a little bit.
I don't know about that, dude.
We always joke around when there's like homies that haven't gone there. Like, dude, there's a volunteer sheet. Like, let's sign you up real quick. But there's no volunteer sheet.
Oh,
There's
okay.
just.
Everyone be all scared.
Nah, I think it's also like people who go there. It's like, oh, I think you could volunteer to go up there. I'm not too sure. I don't know, but.
Should I share the links too?
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, no. Before the links,
the book.
The book, yeah, because that's another like dope accomplishment. Like, you were featured your pictures, right? Your photography.
Yeah, so there's this lady who runs the DTLA book, and I follow them on Instagram, and I see some of their pictures. I had a friend named Tommy, who is an amazing muralist. He was in the first edition of the book, and he had the front cover. He designed the front cover.
Oh, sick.
There was a big piece on him, and I was like, this is a great book. The photography looks similar to what I do. At the time I was living at downtown LA, I felt that I can contribute.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I followed them or did some tagging to some other profiles. They found me. We followed each other. I started asking them about the book and about entries because I saw the second edition and it looked exactly of an image that I took. So I was like, hey, maybe I can submit some pictures and maybe get published in a book, because I've been published in LA Times, LA Weekly, other Vice, and what was that?
Noisy?
There's a DJ mag.
Mix Mag?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
For interface parties, there was a big review about that.
What?
Yeah.
Does anybody have a copy of that magazine?
Mo does.
Huh?
I still need my copy. But that was a really exciting thing. But I'd never been in a book.
Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah, because this isn't an actual book, right?
It's a hardback book.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah. I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I submitted some pictures. They liked my work, and they wanted to purchase some stuff, but they had a little project for me. So they're like, hey, we need 10 different buildings photographed. This is what we're looking for. We want your vision, but we need these in like 2 weeks.
Oh, shit.
And luckily I live downtown. So
it's right there.
But for me to sit with buildings, I like to do like, one a day kind of thing to like really get the right lighting, whatever.
Yeah.
That's probably just being too artistic. But yeah, the buildings I shot was a famous architect by the name of Florence Kassler, who was the wife of a plumber and developed 10 buildings in the fabric district of downtown LA.
Oh, shit.
And at the time, that was like a man's game, if you want to put it, a man's industry, where only men would design buildings. She was an incredible woman. She built some pivotal / historical buildings that we see today, and was a big movement of downtown LA. And I was super proud to be a part of that project and had to shoot every building of hers in artistic ways to help.
Oh, so all buildings of her that she designed?
Yes.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and it was
That's
10
nice.
different ones. It was a great project. They produced the book really well. We had some parties for opening of the book to show Los Angeles. And it's the only book, I believe, that really represents the culture and lifestyle of downtown LA. And what's great is those books are not only in a lot of hotels, places of business, and a lot of the local community supports it to show people from out of town what to look for, what to do in downtown LA.
So you could probably like find them in like not brochures, but maybe like
or you can like the Intercontinental. It'll be in there.
You see, right? Like
Hotel Figueroa.
That's sick.
And various companies in downtown that are part of the community. It was a really great experience. I mean, I hope to be a part of it again. I don't know if they're doing one this year, but that really felt cool to be published in a book. That was
because it's called DTLA, huh?
Yeah, DTLA book.
Yeah, DTLA book.
Yeah.
2019.
Really good
So
book.
get your
Check it
copy,
out.
everybody.
If there's any more copies left,
is there?
they only make a certain amount.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Hopefully that wasn't a spider.
No, because I'll say oh shit to what you said, but at the same time that thing flew in my face. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, and like right now it's really dark in this part.
Very eerie.
I'm surprised we haven't been kicked out.
Oh, because you could get kicked out?
Well, technically it closes at sunset.
And
the sun has already set.
Yeah.
Because last time I was here, I was exercising and some lady told me to get the step in. But we should probably wrap it up because there might be coyotes soon.
Oh, dude. If it's a pack of coyotes, I'm running, Dean.
It's a little rural out here. I mean, it's
Oh no, there's
kinda
somebody out there.
scary.
There's somebody out there.
Yeah, well, wait.
But still, though.
All right.
But yeah, but yeah. So everybody get the copy of DTLA.
Yeah,
book,
check it out.
2019.
Yeah, Google search it.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's cool.
that's what I saw when I was, because before, like, you and all the droid behavior people, you guys have stuff on the internet that you can research, and kind of like, and really like gather some questions and stuff. So, that's another successful thing. Hopefully, I can get there one time.
I'm sure
But,
you can, man. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I know it's super cliche, but just keep pushing. And that's very important. Even I tell everyone I strive to fail.
Yeah.
I want to fall on my face. That means I'm living. I'm trying.
Yeah.
And hopefully you learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's important, to just keep pushing, just keep moving. Even when you ride that wave and you feel like you can take a break. Because
Yeah.
I do that. I'd be like, everything's great. And then you just fall into the slump. So
Yeah.
push yourself, but also take a you day. Relax on
Yeah.
Sundays.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sleep is important too.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember one time I think I partied out too crazy, and I'm like, is there some like shortcuts or something to kind of get your energy so back, like, back like quickly? Maybe I could take something, whatever.
Serotonin?
Yeah, like, or 5-HTP type stuff, whatever. But then I'm like looking, and then I think some like one of the lists like, yeah, you can do this and that, but the best remedy is sleep. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah,
It's
rest is just
everything.
where you, like,
Everything.
you.
True REM sleep.
Yeah,
so I
so-
learned
Oh yeah, because
that you don't ever make up sleep. I used to think you do.
oh
The hours you lose, you never get back.
oh shit.
And your brain needs 7 to 8 hours of true REM sleep. That doesn't mean you shut your eyes. Like, you get sleep.
Yeah, because that's like REM sleep, which whatever.
Which
you
helps
have to-
regenerate your body
Yeah.
and your mental state.
Yeah, that's some. I think there's something that, like, I guess people who smoke a lot don't actually get REM sleep.
Or even when you drink. You
Yeah.
think you pass out, your
But
brain
you don't
doesn't
exactly.
shut off.
Yes,
No.
that's exactly
That's
what.
why you wake up tired and, like, technically, air quotes again, sorry you can't see this, hangovers.
Yeah.
Is your brain still going? You're not fully asleep.
Yeah. I guess in the Joe Rogan podcast, they said that, like, that's why people, when they don't smoke, they actually start dreaming a lot, because it's the overflow of maybe REM sleep that you haven't been getting. So that's why you get all these very, very like visual dreams, whatever. But they said that there hasn't been studies, to really pinpoint, like, how bad is it to be smoking every day, because I think one of the doctors said that that I think there could be a possibility that while you're like sober, going throughout your day, some of that chemical that has been suppressed, whatever, will just kind of like seep out, and you might be like, like lucid dreaming while you're awake, and you might think you're going crazy.
No, that's true. Or you mean from lack of sleep?
Lack of sleep, yeah,
Yes,
exactly,
yes.
yeah,
No,
like
no.
lack of proper sleep, yeah,
I've
REM
been there
sleep,
before,
yeah.
where you get delusional.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I don't know how many days I was up, and not from anything, just from working or
Mhm.
from school at college, because I used to have like
Oh,
all
yeah,
nighters.
yeah.
The longer you're up, for me, what's interesting is your depth perception's off. You don't know like how far your wall
Oh,
is.
shit.
You just like run into things. There's
Fuck.
no like, yeah. So driving on no sleep is dangerous.
That's what, yeah, man. I'm just tired, like, sleeping. I mean, like, driving if you're tired. Oh man, somebody has even said it, and I can agree with that. Like I think driving while being tired, like sleepiness, is way worse than like maybe under the influence. But yeah, but let's end it off on that note. Get your sleep, everybody.
Sleep.
But before anything,
Wow.
where can we follow you on Instagram?
Okay, so that is, if you go on Instagram, it's DEANPAU number 1. Apparently the owl was taken, so I had to be creative
Yeah.
and
Spells
come
out
up with
Dean
a new
Paul.
screen name.
What about Twitter?
Same as well on Twitter is the same, DEANPAU1. SoundCloud is Dean-Paul. And for those of you that actually are on Facebook still, / get information on Facebook for musicians, it's Dean Paul 23.
Hey, and you can also follow yourself on Twitter, Bit23, no?
Oh yeah, that's my photography page as well. My Twitter.
You can also visit bit23.com.
Yeah, which is my website.
There we go. Yeah.
There you go.
So thank you again, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate
Alrighty,
it.
well, this is the Dean Paul interview episode. Bye-bye now.
Peace.
Beyond